Hey everybody, welcome to the Morphin Grid. I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
And today we're watching episode 25 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Life's a Masquerade, aired October 30th, 1993, which is pertinent to the episode. It's really close to Halloween.
It's just about Halloween.
Yeah.
Let's Morphin time.
I don't know why I just stopped. I just turned off for a second. I just forgot what I was doing with my life. I had to reassess the choices I made.
This is the first podcast we're recording in a streak-free world, so just bear with us.
Oh, that's
We're still gathering our emotions.
The streak's dead. I don't understand. Now we're here. So
Started with a streak and now we're here.
So I feel like nothing has happened that we need to report on. I don't know.
I don't really remember what we start with.
Normally we just talk for a minute about
That's
the
kind of
thing.
what we're doing.
Yeah. Right now we're talking about talking, which is weirdly cyclical vocab word.
Anyway,
for the
if you're
day.
new
Oh,
here.
Jesus. That's a big bug.
Oh, good Lord almighty.
All right. So now that our deal is over, we're just going to jump into the episode. We're going to... Oh, it's my favorite part of the episode. If you're new here...
Hey, how's it going? What's up? Yeah.
That was Josh. That's Josh being a stupid guy. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for listening. If you're new, what we do is we pause the recording, we go watch an episode of Power Rangers, and then we come back and we talk about it for sometimes longer than we mean to.
Not this time, though. We have an hour time limit.
We're on a budget then. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump right into it. That Roach is just in my head now. Okay, no further ado. It's Morphin time.
Oh, and we're back.
Yep.
I come back on the odd-numbered ones.
Yep. You were surprised by that because you don't listen to the podcast.
You're right, I don't, because I live it.
Because you live it. You are the podcast. Half of it. You're a portion of the podcast.
Part of
So here we are.
it wouldn't be the same without me, that's for sure.
That's for dang sure. So we just watched Life's a Masquerade. Excuse me.
See you guys next time.
Okay, get ready for a weird episode, guys.
Well, it's a Halloween episode, so
That's fitting.
weird is a given.
So, before we get started, morphingrid.tumblr.com, littleidiots.morphingrid@gmail.com, @morphingrid on Twitter. We're on iTunes if you want to leave us a rating and or a review, or both, because I guess they're connected.
You have to do both.
They're intrinsically connected.
I don't think you can do one without the other.
So I guess you have to do both if you feel like it. If not, that's fine. We're going to jump right into the episode, because again, we have a time limit. So, we start out with people setting up a costume party at the juice bar. Seems like a costume party for students of Angel Grove High, but as we've established in the past, they fund the juice bar when it's convenient.
The juice bar is just it's like next door or across the street.
It's got to be close. Ernie picked a great location. He gives away too many free sodas and almost goes out of business all the time.
That actually becomes a story arc.
It does.
That doesn't have any money.
Yep.
Because he gives the Power Rangers free drinks.
Free drinks for saving the world. It's a small price to pay.
It's only 5 kids, but they drink a lot of soda.
I guess.
Or healthy smoothies or
Yeah,
whatever.
protein shakes. A lot of stuff. Anyway, so Bulk and Skull are just standing there. Ernie's like, let's get to work. And then Bulk goes, work. Ugh. And then they try to leave. And they bump into Kimberly, who's like, oh, nice costumes, you two.
Right, they're just dressed
'Cause they're just
basically
dressed
as
normal.
themselves,
Yeah.
but Bulk has a really big earring in.
And his hair is long.
It's just not in a
It's not in a
ponytail.
ponytail, which is weird. It threw me off the whole time.
I thought he was a pirate at first because he has a bandana on.
Right.
He's got his hair out a little bit. He's got a giant fake earring. But he was just a punk. They were punkers.
He was just Bulk.
I hate punkers.
You a punker? Also, this is a return of Angela, who we have not seen since...
We haven't seen her in so long that I thought this was the first appearance of Angela.
Yeah, no, we saw her...
But it's not, because I remember talking about her before now.
Yeah. Oh, it's been at least 10 episodes.
It's been a while.
It's been more than 10. I want to say it was Zach's birthday, but I don't think so.
No, that would have been sad because she would have shot him down on his birthday.
Yeah. But she just walks right by him as if he is invisible, which is a little sad.
He chases after her while holding a streamer that Jason has the other end of.
Right. I was
it's a good buddy moment. They have good buddy moments.
Some shenanigans to happen.
They're always laughing, those two.
Then Kimberly is painting a sign. Is Kimberly painting a sign?
It's like a banner, maybe?
Banner. It's because they have giant clown faces.
I don't know why she's painting it up. Why it's hanging up and now she's painting it.
Because that booty. I don't know. I don't know why. But we're going to do our first segment.
I was going to say, while you're speaking about that booty.
We're going to do our first segment. What was Kimberly wearing? Part 1. Because
it's a Halloween episode.
It's a Halloween episode, so part 2 is a costume, which makes perfect sense to her. She's wearing a pink and white striped shirt and jean shorts, I think.
Yeah, and she has like a pink.
She's going on a field trip, so she got her sweatshirt tied around her waist. Because those are just tied to field trips to me. That's what a field trip is
right, because it's cold in the morning when you get there.
Yeah.
And then it gets warm, you take it off, and where are you going to put it? You're going to tie it around your waist.
Around your waist. Yeah. And that's it. Don't know what shoe she was wearing because
it was a Doc Martens.
Good. Those are the best. So then we jump up to the moon.
Well, first, Bulk and Skull have to work now because Kimberly stopped them from getting away.
Right.
And then Ernie throws gold garland at them. String this up.
Yes.
So then they do. And
Christmas-themed Halloween party.
Right, I guess. I don't know. But Skull's like stapling it around the door. And the stapler
runs out of staples.
It runs out. And he like headbutts it in the stapler part.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Jason Narvey was like, I'm going to staple my head and really sell this. But like the stapler actually wasn't working.
And he went, oh.
And then something happens. Something flies through the air, hits a can of paint that then flies back and lands on Bulk's head.
What happens is they knock over chairs. The chairs domino into a broom. The broom hits the ladder that the paint is on because the paint's on one of those weird fold-out things.
Okay.
Hits that, launches the paint onto,
Bulk's
wouldn't
head.
you know it, Bulk's head.
It's payback from when he threw those bugs on Jason's head.
Yes. Kimberly was just on that, though.
Good thing she moved.
She got off because Tommy was like, hey, can I help?
That's right. I remember now.
And she's like, yeah, let me get you a brush. And so she got off and then
left the paint on it.
A Rube Goldberg happened. And then Bulk got covered in paint. Really thick paint. It looked more like cement or sour cream and cottage cheese mixed together. Because it wasn't curdled.
Maybe it was just gack. It was just full of Nickelodeon gack.
It wasn't gack. It wasn't snotty enough to be gack. I don't know what it was.
Gack had a very distinct smell too.
It did.
It was really weird.
Man,
really weird
you
stuff.
ever Floam? Do you ever like the
Floam? It was like little beads.
Yeah, it was like bubble gack basically, and it smelled awful. And the smell just stuck on your hands forever. Like you couldn't get it off.
It's still there now.
If you smell, if you've ever touched Floam and you smell hard enough, you'll smell it. Then we go up to the moon, where a weird thing happens. Rita decides that they're gonna crash this party because
she hates those kids.
She hates them Power Rangers, and a costume party is the best time to send a monster.
Right.
She should have sent maybe a better monster.
Well, that's what I thought too.
But then later, it is the better monster.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. It's a weird discrepancy between ability in the ZU footage and what we have. But the weirdest part of all this is that they put in the Frankenstein clay guy in the Monster-matic.
Right.
He goes through the Monster-matic. Frankenstein comes out, but it's not the Frankenstein from the ZU footage.
It's as close as they could get.
It's a cutaway of the American version of him, which leads me to believe that they didn't
make him.
They didn't make him. But then what did they put in the Monster-matic? Was that just like
that could have just been
footage?
Stock Monstermatic footage.
It looks like he has a square head. Put him in.
Right. Maybe it's that one his arms were going in that first episode.
Oh, maybe.
He deserves to be made.
He's a little more pear-shaped than...
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even see what they put in. I just noticed it was running.
And then, all of a sudden, it popped out. But then, there is ZU footage of Frankenstein later. So I don't know what happened.
He must be a pre-existing monster in Zooranja.
In Zooranja. That's all I remember of the theme song.
It's because the whole thing's in Japanese. I don't remember other languages.
I remember the lyrics at one point are something to the effect of, people used to think the world was flat, but it isn't. Or something like that. Right. Or long ago they didn't know that. Or now we know the earth is round, but long time ago we didn't know that. Right. Something weird.
It's just a straight fact, but it's presented oddly.
It's at the end of a verse, so it's not to set anything else up. It's weird. So they're going to crash this party. They send Frankenstein down, who acts just like Frankenstein. Grunts.
Yep, can't bend his knees.
Right.
Really arthritin.
I'll allow that as a word. Arthritin.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Where were we? Okay, we come back to the Rangers, who are now in costume. And I wrote down their costumes. Billy is Sherlock Holmes.
Doy.
It was that or Einstein. He had two costumes. He spent all night debating on which one he was going to be. But he thought, what if I have to solve a mystery?
Exactly.
You
have to be Sherlock.
You need to be Sherlock Holmes at that. Trini is Pocahontas. Because
she has long black hair.
That makes sense. She's wearing the crap out of it. She looks good. So Kimberly is a princess. Is like a medieval fairy tale princess.
Yep.
Very appropriately. Zach is King Tut. And Jason is Robin Hood.
He's like a sexy King Tut because he has no shirt on.
Yeah, he's got no shirt, and he is ripped like Jesus. He has a 17-pack going on, and Angela still won't give him the time of day.
Tells him to go back to his tomb. Doesn't even call him King Tut, just calls him Tut.
This is pre-kinghood. Barely a prince.
Or Zach. Jason laughs at him.
It's okay. He gets a date in like the last episode of
that Angela's in.
Yeah, probably. As soon as they get close enough, they disappear forever. That's the rule. Then we cut to Bulk and Skull.
Did we say what Jason was?
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's Robin Hood. That's what I got out of it.
Or he's like a woodland prince. If he's not Robin Hood.
Maybe. I don't know. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Then we go to where Bulk and Skull live. One of them lives there. I think it's Bulk's house.
Sure. I'll allow it.
Cool. And they are trying to figure out a plan, and because they are best friends forever, they need to have matching costumes.
They need to have a tandem costume.
So Bulk and Skull have a tandem costume, or they try to figure out what their costumes are going to be, but it's Skull's duty to figure out what the costume is.
Right.
Bulk says that. You have to find a costume that's going to win me the prize, because there's a costume contest, I guess.
Because it's a costume party.
A ribbon and a free milkshake, but...
Spoilers.
I'm going to cut that out. Free milkshake. Stay tuned. First costume, Hook and Peter Pan. Jason Darby, Skull. I mean, technically Jason Darby, but Skull is going to be
Captain Hook.
Captain Hook.
Bulk gets to be Peter Pan.
Bulk is not happy with his little green tights.
No.
So that's a no.
He's not going anywhere wearing those.
Number deuce is a horse, wherein Bulk obviously is the butt part. And he is not having that either. So then they do...
They do my favorite.
They do my favorite one, which is young and old Elvis. Obviously, Skull is young Elvis, and Bulk is old Elvis, because old Elvis...
And Bulk's into it.
Yeah, until he throws his back out.
No, Skull kicked him. He was doing like an Elvis kick move, and he kicked Bulk in the back.
and that means no costumes.
And Bulk was like, "I'm going down." And then they just end up. Then they show up just as punks,
Yeah.
exactly what they were wearing before.
No, it was a little punkier. Skull had a weird belt on, at least.
Right.
And and it was Bulk's idea. Let's just go as punks. Skull went along with it. Then Alpha shows up just to hang out.
Right.
Because he doesn't say, I'm here for the costume contest.
Because he shows up, and then Kimberly and Trini notice him from like across the juice bar, and they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute, this what?" And then Billy like is closer to him,
And he, like scoots up. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here, buddy?" And Alpha's like, "I just wanted to come hang out with you guys."
and he's like, "This seemed appropriate." And then Billy's like, "You do have a nice costume." To which Alpha replies, "What costume?
What costume?
So he just wanted to hang out and has no concept of Halloween and just decided it would be a good time.
If he decided 3 days previous, he would have just showed up
Right.
as a robot, completely out of context. And the cover would have been blown. They had to take their power coins away. Because you can't reveal your secret identity. And if Alpha reveals it,
Right.
they take his Alpha power coin away.
It's a coin with just an Alpha head on it.
It'd be the worst ranger.
All you do is panic and spin your head around.
Spin your head around. We'll get to that. So then we cut back to the moon, where a machine is pooping out clay.
We're not in the moon.
We're not on the moon.
We're in a cave in Angel Grove.
In Angel Grove.
That has super putty in it. Because Rita wants that to make super putties.
But she never makes super putties.
Yes, she does. Not in this episode.
So this is a storyline then.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't remember the rest of it because I was like, I'm excited for this super putty.
I feel
and all
like
she made was a giant globe to stand on, to float around.
Because in the next episode, she like has it up in her club.
Up at the club.
Up at the club.
Drinks in the club.
And then she makes super putties and like they fight them, but they don't get defeated. I think it just extends the putty timer.
Maybe.
Like,
we'll see. Tune in next week for...
Maybe it's 10 episodes from now before they revisit it.
Just keep listening intently.
Totally.
Tell your friends.
I know I will. Tell my friends.
Tell your friends. You're not going to listen to it. I will.
All my friends are here.
When I basically me too. Cut back down to the party where Alpha is getting hit on by like 1,100 girls. Because his costume is so sexy. got that big UFO head. And he blinks. And he's really short. I will tell you from personal experience, that does not bring on the ladies. They don't flock to short people. Just as a rule, I guess. So then Frankenstein breaks in. Doesn't really break in, but he kind of abruptly appears.
He walks in. Staggers in.
He goes to like attack Kimberly and Trini when two dudes just go, "Hey, let's dance," and then just pull them out of the way. Who are these two dudes?
They're dead by the next time we see Kimberly and Trini.
Why doesn't Billy stop them? This is a Death of Truly Watch episode. It might be back, but right now it kind of died.
It's basically dead.
We had some last time before
because we were looking for it. If I remember correctly.
We were hoping for it, yeah. But Kimberly is definitely kind of goo-goo over Tommy.
That'd be a different show.
Look, teenager feelings, complicated.
Right,
okay?
Who knows?
She might be into...
She's never really, looked like she had any kind of thing for Jason.
No, but she was a princess and he was Robin Hood. Could have gone a different way. That's what I'm saying. There's a world where it went a different way. We don't live in it. We live in the one where her and Tommy get together.
The better one.
In a million years, I think. It takes a while.
Like right before she leaves at the end of season 3, they're finally officially together.
He's a Green Ranger when they kiss.
Is he?
Yeah. Which is... might be coming up. I don't know. We're watching this basically not for the first time, but we're watching it studiously for the first time.
Right.
So so there's no real timeline for us. It's just we know when things happened, but not necessarily the order.
Right.
And so that's what this is. We're piecing it together via podcast. Anyway, back to the episode. Frankenstein goes to like clobber Jason, and some girl looks a little bit like Judy.
It's not Judy, though.
It's not Judy. It's not the sneering babe either. I don't know who it is. She's like, we're going to dance, Frankie. They're playing our song.
Right.
So she's very attracted to Frankensteins.
Yeah.
So kids are someone for everyone, I guess. Then, like, they're dancing, and he tries to, like, punch her in the face, but she's, like...
She dodges it?
Dances
So,
around
like-
it. Yeah, she, like, ducks, and I was like, it's a weird move, but I guess it worked.
Frankenstein's trying to murder this girl via haymakers.
Yeah.
Like,
But she ducks
there's one
it.
point where, like, she's holding the hand that he's trying to punch her with, and he ends up spinning her.
Yeah, and I don't remember what happens, but...
She steps on his toe.
And then he gets madder. And then Skull shoots him in the face with a dart gun.
He gets madder, and he, like, lifts her up and throws her at Bulk and Skull.
Okay.
So Bulk and Skull defend this girl's honor by shooting Frankenstein in the head with a sticky dart.
Sticky dart. Yeah, a little suction cup right to his head. Then we come back to the moon.
Then he chases out.
He chases
Bulk
them out. And Billy
he lifts Skull up, and Skull's like, "Hey, man, it's just a joke."
Billy thinks, "Oh my god, this is my moment."
Because he thinks
This
that
is
might
my
be Tommy.
moment. And then he
Don't Rebecca Black right now.
Oh, I will all day.
Because he thinks the Frankenstein might be Tommy, so he's looking for clues.
Instead of just asking him, because they're friends.
Because he's not just in costume, he's in character.
But
wouldn't Sherlock Holmes just ask him, "Hey, are you Tommy?"
I mean,
And then if he was like, "No,"
if Billy is so smart, why didn't he just like press his communicator once, and then if it was Tommy's, it would beep. He would just beep from under his shirt. But instead,
he walks
he's
around
like,
awkwardly puffing on a fake pipe.
I'm gonna follow you all the way across town into the caves.
He's really dedicated to his character.
Yeah, there's like a lot of goofy like Frankenstein looks around, Billy ducks behind a bush moments. I don't know.
It's weird because Frankenstein is chasing Bulk and Skull.
Right.
And then Bulk and Skull, like, they run separate ways. Frankenstein loses them. So he just walks to the cave. His default mode is
go
the
home.
Power Rangers are behind me, but I can't find these two punks. I just go home.
You gotta go home. You'd think at this point Billy would go, why is Tommy walking into the desert?
At this point, I
seem
think
right.
he might suspect it's not Tommy, so he's following
Now
it
he's trying to
see.
figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Also, in a couple minutes, the footage will demand that Dan fights Frankenstein alone
Right.
in a cave, and thus Billy needs to fight Frankenstein alone in the cave. So we cut back to the cave where they say something about super putty because this machine is still just pooping it out. It's like really red. Like, it looks like good clay.
Yeah.
But it's just like and then they're just like shoveling it into a giant ball mold.
Yep. Or they're just like sticking it into a ball shape.
Oh yes, they're shoveling coal into this giant ball thing, which I thought was the mold for a second, but now
It's
now that I think
powering
about
the
It's a
machine.
furnace of some sort. Power Rangers, you guys.
Rita has all this magic, but her clay farming machine is powered by coal.
That's a good segue because she has a lot of magic, but Billy hits a laser tripwire in a cave that sends Frankenstein a coming.
Because Rita's like, you can get one of them right now. You set off my alarm
That I had installed.
in my cave.
I had a tech guy come out. Why couldn't she just have put down like a symbol, a magic thing?
No,
Power-
it's a tripwire.
Power Ranger walks over this.
A trip laser.
Yeah,
it wasn't a wire.
It was a laser.
It was
yeah,
a
and
green
when-
beam of light.
There was a red one too. There were
There were two.
There were two tripwires.
Just in case.
In case one breaks down. So then Frankenstein attacks, and it's a Japanese footage Frankenstein.
It's a better looking Frankenstein.
better
but this
looking
monster
one.
is still stupid.
It's weird. It's weird and kind of dumb. But this is when I was like, oh, this is actual footage from Z Ranger. Why didn't they show that in the beginning?
Right. It's just if he was a monster that existed already, why did he have to be made in the Monstermatic in our footage?
Madame Woe didn't. Scorpina didn't.
Scorpina hasn't been seen since she showed up that time.
No, honeymoon. Maybe.
Goldar's been seen since then. Not in this episode.
He's a bad husband.
Hey, we're gonna go on our honeymoon, and then leaves her there for a day
on an actual moon somewhere.
Because Goldar likes fighting the Power Rangers.
Yeah,
so
that's his favorite thing, and one day he's gonna beat them. Sort of.
Yeah.
Eventually, he does sort of beat them.
He beats Tommy, but then Tommy gets fixed.
Right.
So
spoilers.
Oh, come on.
It's a kind of a big thing. I feel like you should know that. Like people listening probably know.
He has to become the White Ranger somehow.
That's true.
Like, if not, he would have just stayed green, because green is awesome. Green has a better shield than the White Ranger does.
I like the White Ranger's design better. This is where we're different. This is where we're different.
I'm very biased to the Zeo Ranger suits.
I like the Zeo Ranger suits, and I really like that he can play the dagger and become the Terminator.
Instead of having a conversation with his hilt.
Yeah. Dude, Saba's the baddest dude in Revere, okay? Look.
Saba. Did you ever see the White Ranger versus Scorpion?
No.
It's actually Jason David Frank doing the White Ranger's side of the fighting.
Why was he the White Ranger then?
Because they do like a poll, like this hero versus this hero. Who do you guys think would win? And then they film a fight scene.
That's pretty cool.
With the winner killing the other guy. It was actually pretty cool.
I'll check it out. I thought it was going to be dumb, but if it's Jason David Frank in there, the fight will actually be pretty good.
It's a really good fight scene, because whoever's being Scorpion is also a really good martial artist.
Cool.
So it was just really fun to watch.
All right, check that out.
I mean, you don't need to watch the first, 5 minutes of the video, because it's them, why do you think Scorpion would win? Guy who's somewhat related to Mortal Kombat. And then, Jason David Frank, why would you win the fight?
Then he just spin kicks for 5 minutes.
Right.
He goes, that's why.
He's like, I got a tiger sword, but I won't have to use it in this fight.
Don't even need to use it. But if I need to, I got a freaking
Spoilers,
tiger
the White
sword.
Ranger wins.
Of course the White Ranger
stabs
wins.
Saba through Scorpion's head. It's pretty cool.
That's a little too violent for Power Rangers.
I mean, it was made by people who want Power Rangers to grow up, I think. But
boring.
Whatever.
You people
anyway,
are boring. Get over yourselves.
We got to get back on track.
Yeah, let's try to get back to a track. So Billy morphs, fights Frankenstein, but Billy...
He doesn't say it's Morphin time.
He says...
It's transmutational metamorphosis time or something.
Transmutational... Changing... It means to change. I don't know what he says. It's Billy speak for it's Morphin time. And it was weird.
Eventually he just says it's Morphin time.
Yeah.
Because Trini leaves, so he has to dumb it down.
So he has to bring it down a notch. Because Aisha's not going to translate. So Billy morphs, they fight Frankenstein. Frankenstein fights with bolt nunchucks.
Which is weird, because he pulls the bolt out of both sides of his neck, which means that the chain is in his neck. But he can't pull it out of either side, because the bolts are there. So it doesn't make sense that it comes all the way out of his neck if he pulls it out of both sides.
Counterpoint, magic?
Sure.
So
he pulls the bolts out, and then a chain magically appears between them.
Mystery solved.
Boom.
Blew that wide open. So then we cut back to violent earthquakes out of nowhere.
Rita, they get all the super putty out of the cave. Right. They farmed it all.
They roll it out in a ball.
They roll it, which causes a massive, mild earthquake.
Because
Ernie's like, it's a little earthquake.
It's a little tremor. Don't worry about it. But the first shot we see are houses falling into a crevice.
Yeah.
And
then Rita floats up on her new ball of super clay.
on potential.
She yells at the humans for being dumb.
And she says something like, I'm going to kill you, but not now.
Right.
Or I want to kill you, but I won't. Why just kill him, Rita? Just pull the trigger.
Rita, you stupid.
You're stupid. This is why you lose. That's why you lose eventually, because you can't just kill everybody. Instead, you had to, like, annoy the Power Rangers at their costume party or make Kimberly cry. Jerk. So, what happens? What's the order of events?
Billy runs back to the juice bar.
Right. And then...
Because I think they're all like, what happened to Frankenstein? And then Billy's like, if he runs in, he's like, oh, God, guys, it's not Tommy, it's Monster.
No, first he goes, we have a situation.
Right.
And Kimberly goes, no, duh, we just had an earthquake. Like, there's a situation that's still happening. It's a little earthquake.
Ernie's like, guys, it's just a little earthquake. Like, it happens all the time because they're in California.
Yeah, I've only experienced one earthquake in the 8 months that I lived in California. One earthquake. I was in a mall where I was working for a month, and the mall bounced. Like the floors, like it was like I felt like I was, the pencil trick where it's rubber,
right?
But a mall floor,
and I was
standing
rubber.
on it, yeah.
Ooh.
And then I was like, "Is that an earthquake?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I was like, "Oh, that wasn't that bad. I hope my TV didn't fall over."
Right. There's that one that knocked over that lawn chair
in Maine.
Yeah.
We will rebuild. So they teleport to the command center.
Well, first Billy explains what the actual situation is that Frankenstein is actually a monster. And then Kimberly just goes, "What?" Kimberly, like she just saw the Undertaker's streak end, just goes, "What?"
That's what I said. Then they teleport back to the command center. Correct?
Yes.
And so it's really funny having them be in costume still.
In the command center.
They're number one, they're in the command center all dressed as 1800s or sooner.
Right.
Or farther back in time.
Farther back, right. Later?
1800s or earlier.
Yes.
There we go. And then they're talking to this giant floating head in a jar, and like they're just, I don't know, they're trying to be like, what do we do? This is a really dangerous situation.
They're all dressed goofy.
But like
Zach's like a pharaoh.
Zach doesn't have a shirt on. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
Trini has a feather sticking out of the back of her head. Kimberly has that giant cone hat
to tell the weather, I guess. I don't know what those are for.
It's
medieval fashion, you guys.
It's like a princess crown because you're not like really in charge.
But they do want you to
need
have
a
fancy
status
headgear.
symbol.
Yeah.
Like, so you get a cone hat.
And then
a dunce cap with some
lace
silk coming out of it. Yeah.
So they're like, we gotta go, and they're like, no time to call Tommy. We don't know where he is, so we'll just go.
That was before they left for the command center. That was them leaving the juice bar. Okay. So like, what about Tommy? He's like, we can't call him. We have to go.
He's not here. We just have to leave. And then they get there, and they're like, we'll find him. We'll locate him because he's not entering his communicator because he was attacked by a couple putties, I guess. In a couple seconds.
No, because that's after. Like,
yeah, maybe it takes place at the same time.
Well, if he's practicing karate, he can't hear the communicator over all his kias.
No, those are loud. So they would scare me all the way away. If he was just in like the park, I'd be like, never mind, I'm gonna go home. Sorry.
If he's yelling, yeah, and he's doing that spin kick for 20 minutes, like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Air's going to be rushing by his ears.
I don't even want the possibility of me crossing that guy to exist.
To occur, yeah. And then they're like, no time to call Tommy. Then there's this one shot of just Alpha putting his hands up with his head spinning all the way around.
Explaining how this monster is dangerous, and Alpha can't handle it.
This goofy-looking Frankenstein is bad news, you guys. And Alpha's like, you're right.
He's not even saying, I.
No, his head is literally just spinning around,
just spinning
dead
around.
silent. It's really weird. It's a weird episode. Then Tommy's attacked by putties.
Yes.
That's right.
Because you can't deal with these party crashers right now. Then he deals with these party crashers
right now. So they morph. And you said that they should have their suits under their costumes.
Yeah, they should have to like take their costumes off so they can be threatening.
That would be the best. Or they would just fight in their costumes.
The Black Ranger with a Pharaoh costume over him.
He'd have a very little Pharaoh costume because there's very little. He'd be mostly Power Ranger with a Pharaoh hat and a skirt.
And like that chest piece.
Right. And some
that's
sandals.
made out of coins.
hey, they were rich.
Ancient Egypt times were weirder.
Tuts, you guys, all them tuts.
That's it.
That's it. That's the whole episode. So then they fight. To fight Frankenstein a little bit more. He gets a little bit of the better of him, and then Rita decides, let's make him grow. Let's ruin this fight for everyone on my side. Because it never works out unless Tommy is on the other side.
Right.
And even then, they still eventually won.
Not giant, though. They beat him normal-sized.
No, they beat him?
Nope. They beat him normal-sized because it was Tommy and Jason fought, and then he shot the sword.
You're right.
Because in the footage, they're brothers, so it made sense for Red and Green to have to battle only each other, to have to.
Yes, exactly. Okay, yeah, you're right. So then, Rita's just floating around on this clay that I thought was going to turn into a putty this episode. Like a monster, giant monster.
They already have a
putty.
Monster this episode.
Well, that's what I... Like, that's why the fact that they didn't show Frankenstein earlier, I was like, oh, I thought they were just going to... The big monster's a giant putty.
This super putty comes into play later, and that she makes stronger putty patrollers out of it. She should have crafted monsters out of it.
Yeah, they're made of the same clay. Just putties aren't as detailed and therefore as strong or effective.
Right. You build putties in bulk.
Yeah,
because there's a mold.
Ship them out. They're distractions. Who cares? They're not even like... You put them in the mold and they're still like basic clay...
Just clay outlines. Guys.
Yeah.
Clay Bob Hollies.
So they jump in. Clay Alex Riley's now.
Well, they don't have hair. So.
Fair point. Point Nichols. So then there's Zord fighting, and there's some cool stuff. Frankie throws his nunchucks around the neck of Megazord and just like leads him around and then lifts him somehow and slams him on the ground. Because physics don't need to work.
Right.
It
just needs to look cool.
It just needs to look cool. That's the big thing. Then we go back to Tommy.
Well, the Megazord gets real messed up because like that horn thing that horn mohawk that the Megazord has starts to glow and then fires a ton of sparks out of it.
Right. There's one point where, because one of the nunchuck bolts turns into like a wrecking ball, and Megazord just gets hit in the chest with it like 11 times in a row.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, things are looking bad. Oh, crap, Alpha. And so they finally call Tommy.
Well, we cut back to Tommy, who has hip-tossed one putty
and the rest of them
to the ground. He
mind.
Vanishes. The rest of them are like, you beat us. They leave.
We out.
Putty's out.
Tommy morphs. And then we go back to Megazord getting beat up for 15 more minutes, it seems like, before Tommy shows up. Because he wants to be, like, the hero.
Right.
So he's not just going to show up immediately.
No. Well, I mean, Dragonzord has to walk there.
Why doesn't Dragonzord have access to the same teleportation technology that the rest of the Zords
he
do?
Comes out of the ocean and he has to walk to a certain point and then he can get teleported.
You have to knock over a certain amount of fishing boats before you can teleport.
Chew on the same lighthouse.
Yeah, he's got to stretch, get the water out of his ear. Who knows how long that could take. So then Dragonzord and Megazord are fighting, like back and forth, like not with each other, with Frankenstein. Right. And, Tommy does the which is just attack it in some way.
Right, that's the attack command, and then Dragonzord decides the best way that it should, and so which should always be missiles.
Yes, I think missiles is usually the most effective thing. But he chooses Tail Slap, and Frankie catches him.
Here's the problem. Dragonzord got confused. So he commanded him to use the missiles, and he was like, oh, tail whip.
Tail whip. So he hits Frankie. Frankie catches it, and then...
He swings Dragonzord into Megazord.
Knocks Megazord down, then lifts him up by the tail and slams him on the ground. Which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And then they go, never mind, we're making the Dragon Megazord, or the Mega Dragonzord.
Mega Dragonzord.
And then they beat him. Then they punch a hole through his chest.
Frankie actually fights them for a while.
This is the first time Frankie actually fights, or Mega Dragonzord actually fights
it's not like he just warps and stabs him like last time. He's like, I'm Mega Dragonzord now. Game over.
He's dead. Win button.
Because Frankie is beating them up. Because this is a pretty strong monster.
For being
Who
goofy.
would have won if Tommy hadn't been made a Green Ranger. But yeah, they're beating up Mega Dragon Zord, and then Jason's like, we need the power staff. This is ridiculous.
Oh, the dude explodes.
Yep, they stab him in the stomach. There's an awful, superimposed hole in him.
Photoshopped hole in him that just shows the sky behind him, and then he cracks lightning and explodes.
And it was like, he wasn't cracking over like a live shot of him. He was cracking over a photo of his face going, still.
And then Tommy does the thing that I hate the most about Power Rangers. They try to like make a joke at the expense of the bad guy, but it's never something pertinent. It's always just like whatever is closest.
It's like that was talk about bad indigestion.
Yeah, like,
I'm playing with the boom stand.
Cut it out. Start kicking you when you do it.
I'd say I'll get better, but I'll just get worse.
You won't. So yeah, he's like, that's what I call a bad case of indigestion.
Look,
maybe if this was Pudgy Pig, whose monster is eating.
He got stabbed in the guts. Kids eat bad jokes up.
Kids are stupid, yo. I don't know. I just don't like it, and I can't do anything about it because it was filmed 20 years ago. I just wish.
I don't hate it like you do. I think it's fine
because
they're teenagers with attitude.
Their attitude. They need an attitude adjustment.
Let's say that. Somehow John Cena will find his way into Power Rangers and ruin everything.
Just goofy, guppy smile.
He'll attitude adjust the Megazord.
From the ground. Little tiny, human-sized John Cena.
And then he'll put in a sloppy STF and make him tap out.
Anyway. Cut back to the party where the costume contest is going to be called a winner. Yeah, a winner is about to be crowned.
Right.
And Tommy's like, I got to change into my costume. Frankenstein gave me some ideas for some finishing touches.
He doesn't say that yet. Trini's like, where's your costume? He's like, it's in this bag. I got to go change. I'll be right back. And then he comes back as Frankenstein.
And then says...
He basically scalped the Frankenstein monster.
Yeah,
because he's wearing the same head.
Same head. And he goes... Frankenstein gave me some ideas for some finishing touches, which means that he didn't finish until after he beat Frankenstein.
And basically, whatever he had, he scrapped.
Unless he was like, "I'm going to make a Frankenstein," and then he saw Frankenstein. Was like, "I'm going to take your head."
He was like, "I'm going to make a Frankenstein," and like he had like just a generic suit. He was like, "I don't know how to make the head though,"
so he just chopped it off with the dragon dagger. Gross. It's weird. So why'd you do that, Tommy? What finishing touches, first of all? Unless it was like, I have a suit, I'm going to look exactly like that monster. Or the finishing touch is like, I'm going to scare Bulk and Skull away, because that's what they do. That's what he does. Because they're like, yeah.
Also,
Alpha's still getting hit on by 100 ladies.
Only Kimberly had a costume, and I guess Trini a little bit too, that matched their color.
Yeah, because Billy's was like brown.
Billy's was a brown Sherlock
Jason's
Holmes.
was leather.
Yeah, it was like a forest green cloth over like, maybe it was like really deep red leather.
Yeah, and then
but I think it was just brown.
All gold.
Zach was all gold.
And some brown for his skirt.
Tommy had a black suit with a white t-shirt and a blue Frankenstein face.
Yeah, they are the only ones that... Yeah, because Trini's was yellow. Hers is...
It was just like... Yeah, it was just a regular... It was like an authentic Native American poncho or whatever those are.
It was a dress.
All right, I'll give it a dress.
It was definitely a dress.
Which is basically yellow. So,
yeah.
On Megaforce, I think they go to Halloween just as themselves in whatever clothes that they wear.
Because they only wear the one thing unless they're working out.
Or they go in their workout clothes. They're like, we're workout guys.
We're going as fit teens.
They add a pedometer. Or one of those Fitbit bracelets. Yeah. Those are all the rage right now.
So that, Tommy scares him away. Then like, we're going to crown it. And it's Alpha. And everyone's like... Who's
swimming in ladies.
Yeah, he has 40 girls hanging off of him.
I think it's only 3.
It's whatever. It's more.
But they're all like, "Who is this guy?" Bulk and Skull are like, "I want to know who this guy is." And Bulk asks Skull if he has a can opener, and Skull's like, "Yep," and just pulls it out of his jacket.
Can opener, and just hands it to him.
And then Alpha runs away.
That is great. That he just has a can opener on him for no reason, except to open up robots to see who they are. He's been waiting for this moment for weeks. And then it'll
come in handy again later on.
That's a much bigger can opener. And it's not the same guy. It's like the one with the clip and the crank. This is goofy. So that's the episode.
Yep.
Final thoughts on Life's a Masquerade.
When Frankie popped out of the Monster-matic, I audibly was like, oh, this episode.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was just like a garbage monster, but he was really strong.
Yeah, I do not remember him getting the better of the Power Rangers.
Until he got stabbed in the gut.
Yeah.
Like,
just goes to show you.
Anything can happen in a post-streak world.
Yep. Ain't no rules no mo. Well, that's been podcast.
I want to explain the streak because I don't know if everyone listening to
The Undertaker hasn't lost
because we've referenced
a match
it
at WrestleMania until last night.
Yep. In 21 WrestleManias he went undefeated and he lost last night, so he's 21-1, and it was a huge deal because the streak became like this mythological creature. Yeah,
and then Brock Lesnar won it. No, it didn't win it.
He ended the streak basically out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did. It got weird. There was a bunch of grown men crying.
It was super quiet in the Super Dome.
You could hear a pin drop and 80,000 people. And you could hear a pin drop. That's the streak.
But it was the one constant in wrestling. It was the one thing that was like absolute.
There's a safety blanket.
So that's the streak we've been referencing this whole episode.
About. You have to get to the end to understand it, but here we are. So if you want to talk to us online, you can go to morphingrid.tumblr.com. That's our, I don't want to say main website, because that's just where
that's what you say in every other episode, so why would you say it now?
Why now? Because we're in a post-streak world, so who knows? You can email us at littleidiots.morphingrid@gmail.com, or you can talk to us on Twitter at morphingrid. We're on iTunes if you want to leave a rating and review. That'd be sweet. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
So I guess until next time,
may the power protect you. And then Babu's like, tell me that didn't just happen. That's not Babu.
I don't know what that is.
Just cut that and we'll pretend I didn't do that.
Okay.
You're not going to put that at the end, are you? Ice cream break.
Also, if anybody would like ice cream, feel free to come to Austin, Texas around the time we're recording our podcasts, and there will be ice cream available to you.